can't change anything, Agent. You know, all we can do is just go with what we are.
You can't go with what you are. Have you read the papers? Do you know what everybody says? It's suicide. You've seen him. You know how strong he is. You can't win.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and some of you may have noticed there was no worst of the week this Monday or Tuesday, and you're thinking, where was the curmudgeon of Critical? What happened? Well, it turns out there really wasn't that much bad to talk about last week as far as comic books. But now he's not the curmudgeon of Critical. Today, he's just Pele, the connoisseur of kindness here on Thinking Critical. We're going to be talking about what he says is his favorite, corner of the DC universe, maybe the last decade or so. And we're going to be talking about DCeased. What's up, Pele? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. You all right?
I am doing very well, but I do want to say this to the viewers. If this is your first time joining us, or if you've been kind of checking us out but haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Give us a thumbs up for this conversation. I think you're going to like it. If you end up not liking it, definitely give us a thumbs down and let us know in the comment section below. We love the feedback. But Pele, so
yeah,
I'm personally normally not a zombie guy. I did like the little zombie movie craze there for a minute. Got a little overblown, too many TV shows, too many zombie movies and stuff like that. But it also crept into the comic book publishing.
Oh, yeah.
None of those ever really caught my eye, but Tom Taylor's DCeased with Trevor Hairside. Woo!
Ooh, man, I tell you, that has been ironic since talking about zombies, but it's been a breath of fresh air for DC. And a lot of the Walking Dead fans were kind of looking for a place to hang their hats, after that series went up. And I never was a Walking Dead fan. Just never really interested me that much. I kept track of the story in a broad sense just so I could talk about it at the shop. But I tell you what, I can be critical of Tom Taylor, and I am critical of him with his Marvel work and some of his DC work. But DCeased has just been hitting on all cylinders ever since it came out. It hit the ground running, and wow. I don't know if I think a lot of it has to do with getting to see our iconic heroes that we've grown to love just get smashed. And in a way, outside of canon, in an Elseworld story, that we just get to see them get demolished, and we get to see them face trials that they never have before. And it's just amazing. It really is. Just the way that they go out, or the way that they persevere, and it's just been a real delight to read it. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's very well crafted. And I think that's one of the advantages of kind of once you start going outside in continuity, maybe you get your own little corner, your own little universe, like Sean Gordon Murphy's White Knight. Obviously, DCeased is its own kind of thing. You've got 2 series now. We've had a couple of digital series go out. There's a lot of consequences in this story. Characters can die. And what's weird is, I'm reading Scott Snyder's Dark Knight's Death Metal, which is in continuity. It's very impactful for all the mainline heroes in the DC Comics universe. But somehow it almost feels like the zombie story that Tom Taylor tells in DCeased is more grounded, and more impactful as far as character moments. Because, yes, Batman does succumb, but he gets that wonderful moment where he gets to connect with Damian and say, hey, or, I always wanted you to have this. He gets the Batman uniform, and he takes up the mantle, and you get this wonderful, tender moment between father and son, knowing that Batman's not coming back from this. This is a true goodbye between these two characters that have often butted heads and maybe not seen eye to eye and kind of been dysfunctional father and son. But, in that true moment when all was lost and his father was stepping away to pass on, is just getting that. You don't get that in the mainline continuity because when they do something like that, they're always going to come back, or they're going to reboot it and they're just going to be back again,
Oh, then you get that punch in the gut right after that. I mean, just immediately following that, Alfred's got to put down Bruce. I mean, I thought it was ingenious, really, the way that Batman was able to hold out for as long as he was. That was extremely creative after he got hurt by a zombie. That was very creative. And and then the Alfred situation, just breaks your heart. And you're talking about fathers and sons in this too. He handled it much better than, ironically, handled that much better than King ever did in the Batman series. And also with Bendis too, he handled it. The Superman and Superboy, or Superman, his son, and in John's situation, that was handled so well too. John had to step up. He had big shoes he had to fill, and all of the rest of humanity was counting on him. And that's it's such a it's funny that a monster story like this, with some of the darkest, just most grisly points ever seen in a comic, in my opinion, have some of the most tender moments. Some of the moments that, coming of age, taking responsibility, having to say goodbye and just move on as quickly as you can, because you don't have a moment to think about it. And it's just amazing. I can't believe I say this, but I look forward to the DCeased books probably more than anything else coming out of comics right now. And they just really, really impressed me. And I was the one that asked you, I said, can we talk about DCeased? Because it has really had an impact, and people at the store just adore it. It doesn't have the numbers of selling like, the regular issue of Batman, or even the regular issue of X-Men, or, it is selling. It's selling about the same as Amazing Spider-Man. And that's just, wow. That's amazing that a Elseworlds title like that was kind of like published as a, kind of like as a what if kind of, this might do well, it might not. And now it's doing numbers that are better than Spider-Man. That's something else. That's definitely that's an impressive feather in their cap.
Absolutely. It's crazy. Like you said, you get all as far as horror fans, you get the bombastic fun, you get the nutty moments where someone gets bitten and you're just waiting for them to turn. You get all that tension in there. But I think without the levity and the moments between the characters, I know recently, Dead Planet's going on. We're early on in that run, but recently, obviously the Super Sons have taken up their father's mantle. Jonathan Kent is Superman, and Damian Wayne is Batman. They return to Earth, and we realize there's these other heroes that have been holding out and fighting. We got a moment I didn't know I needed, but Damian Wayne in the Batman costume comes face to face with Jason Todd, who's been stuck on Earth for 5 years while these guys have been out in space. And he sees him. He doesn't know what to say. He's like, I'm sorry. My father gave me this. I hope you understand. He was kind of like, listen, your father giving you the mantle of Batman was not a mistake. He gives him a big hug. It's like, that's a moment between, that you feel has been earned with all that the characters have been through.
Yeah, you kind of wonder, it's like what the connection Damian. I mean, it's kind of been hinted at before in different books, the connection between the blood heir of the Wayne. I don't know, not really fortune as much as it is legacy, coming to meet together with the Robins, who are also part of his legacy.
Battle for the Cowl. That was, I think it was Tony Daniel. They butted heads, and there's a lot of friction there going on. But where the rubber meets the road, you really see that there is a mutual respect there that, and it's been hinted at before in the comics before, but it's not really been shown to as great a light as this was. And Damian growing up and getting to see what he's like, of course he's still got to fill out that suit. He's not the Batman his father was yet, but you could see that he will be, and he's growing up. I thought it was, it was a little funny quips. He's like, I'm hearing a lot of kicking and fighting over there. What's going on? Nothing.
Nothing. Nope. Not a thing. Nope. No, I didn't do that. Yeah, and yeah, it's just fantastic. And then you've got the whole situation. There is a cure, and are they going to be able to get it out of Cyborg? What's going to happen with that going forward? Is it going to matter? How many heroes have already died? And should they continue killing the heroes if there is a cure that's readily available soon? A lot of decisions to make there, tough decisions.
It's also I think that Tom Taylor's done really well is he stays more true to the characters. I remember we were reviewing Tom King's Batman, and there's the issue where Captain Atom and Gotham Girl basically come face to face, and she basically like kind of bitch slaps him and throws him out of the city, on his ass. Makes him look like one of the most pathetic characters ever. Well, that same week in DCeased, there's a Captain Atom appearance in DCeased, and he essentially takes out cities because he's so powerful when he explodes. And you're just thinking about, the way that he's honoring like who Captain Atom is, not in continuity, but saying, hey, this is a very powerful character. When you see someone, one of the big writers at DC that they really kind of hang their reputation on, had him on Batman, and he just
treating him like a little child.
Like crap. And then, kind of like with what Bendis has done with the Super Sons, where he aged up John Kent, we lose that wonderful tandem. Jonathan Kent really took an edge off of Damian that was very welcome, and it made him a better, more fully fleshed out character. That's been taken away from us in mainline continuity, but we're getting to see the Super Sons as adults coming into their own. And it's something refreshing. It's something that we missed. I miss the Super Sons. I want to see Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne together. They should be together, and to see them kind of leading the effort to come back to Earth and save everybody, it's refreshing to see. And I'm glad that we're getting to see them together, because we're not going to get to see that in mainline continuity because Bendis ruined everything.
Yep. I mean, it's so sad too. I mean, I've harped on Super Sons before, but it was the comic that I pointed first time comic readers to. It was, kid comes in, he's 7-8 years old. It was $2.99 most of the time. It was fairly inexpensive for a recent comic, and parents would come in, want to get their son a comic book, and it's like, well, what would you suggest? And hand them Super Sons, and they love it, and it brings them back. And I don't know what kind of stupidity was running around in Bendis's mind, probably just the usual amount, but he ruined that. He absolutely ruined that, and he ruined the story going forward. And I still keep hoping that they'll be able to retcon that, and maybe they will. But it's been terrible, horrible decision. But at least we got a glimmer of what that would look like in DCeased, of all places, and it's been fantastic. Tell you what, all of you people out there, if you've not read DCeased, the trades are coming out now. And, if that's what you were waiting for, go get them, because they are fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed that series.
It's crazy. It almost feels like DCeased, even though it's kind of like a horror zombie comic book, has a more hopeful vibe and outlook as a series and what they're moving towards. Obviously, we know there is a cure. The heroes have returned to Earth, and they're trying to set things right. There's a hope at the end of the tunnel. It's even more hopeful than what we're getting in the mainline continuity, which is what DC Comics is supposed to be about. It's really surprising. I never would have expected it. I was late to the party. I didn't believe people. They're like, you got to read DCeased. I was like, I don't like Tom Taylor. I don't like zombie comics. Why would I read DCeased? So I finally checked out the first issue, and I've been hooked ever since. So I'm very happy with that. I'm glad DCeased is around. I hope we get more DCeased comics in the future. I hope there's an Earth D that is just DCeased comics. But Paley, it's kind of the elephant in the room. Obviously, you're a retailer. Yeah. We did get the news about DC Comics within the last couple of days. Lots of layoffs. It sounds like the editorial department has been, maybe a third of that department has been kind of removed. Bob Harris is out. Andy Curry's out. Mark Doyle's out. We got a lot of the editorial staff and things are going. DC is moving in a new direction. Feels like digital YA graphic novels are kind of the future focus for DC Comics, and they're going to put less emphasis on periodical comics, floppies, whatever you want to call them, moving forward. What are your feelings about this? Is it a smart move, or is it?
I don't think it's going. I don't think floppies are going anywhere, but I do think that like a lot of the different publishers and game companies and such, they're flushing the woke people out of their systems, and you're seeing, saw that happen with like half a dozen different video game companies, and also other publishing companies. They're dumping the woke people, and it's great. That's what should have happened long ago. The layoffs that were coming at these companies, you see who got laid off, and it wasn't the people who were producing, and it wasn't the people who were more moderate. It was the far left extremists and the agitators and the activists for the most part, and that's awesome. It's bound to happen sooner or later. They can't keep hemorrhaging money. They can't keep driving the companies down into the ground with their evangelism. So, I think it's a good thing. Like I said, I don't think periodicals, I don't think the monthly floppies or even bi-weekly floppies are going anywhere. But
certainly going to be less of them.
There's going to be less of them, and there should be less of them, because there's too many. There was too many on the shelves. And, Marvel's flood the shelves finally ending. Thank God, and that's great. I can get some of that room back. I can get some of that space back that was dedicated to 3 or 4 individual floppies a month. What a waste of space. So, let's get that over with, get that consolidated, and consolidate the companies at the same time. Fantastic. I'm all for it.
You're excited for the future, for a more streamlined DC and Marvel with more emphasis, hopefully, on quality and customer.
Absolutely.
And customer satisfaction.
Yeah, dump all the books that aren't selling at least 15,000 copies and consolidate and get everything back on track. That's what they got to do. That's my opinion.
There are some good books that are under 15,000, but there's no room for marketing. So hopefully they'll be able to get the word out about Daredevil, about Hawkman, and some of these really good quality books that have been drowned out by all the mediocrity in the industry. Don't know if it's going to happen, but that's obviously my hope. I think this is just consolidation, and it's something that's been needed for a long time. And a lot of the comic creators, they'll have to go indie, because Marvel and DC just don't have the money for charity anymore. Well, we'll see. As far as the losing money, as far as I know, DC and Marvel still make money.
Oh yeah,
not a lot of money.
Well, you look at the shift though, and the shift away from direct sales, that's just money's left on the table. Those customers are still out there. They've abandoned them. Hopefully they're going to go back, turn around and pick them up, because if they don't, somebody else will.
I do agree. Well, Paley, I appreciate you coming on here. The Sultan of Swede himself had nothing really bad to say. Very optimistic about the future of the comic book industry. Loving DCeased. I agree with you. It's a wonderful corner of the DC universe. I hope they continue to explore. I don't know if they can continue killing off heroes at this rate. There won't be anybody left to have the comic book about. But while it's here, I'm absolutely enjoying it. I definitely recommend everyone check out DCeased. If you haven't yet, you're missing out on something wonderful.
You're absolutely missing out. It's fantastic. In my opinion, best thing that DC is publishing right now. Probably the best thing. The thing that I've enjoyed most from DC, maybe not critically the best, but the best thing that I've enjoyed from DC almost probably in a decade. And it's been fantastic. Really enjoying them. Just keep them coming. And I know that there's a lot of fans out there that agree with me.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for the DCeased cartoon. It's gonna be great.
Oh, grisly, brutal. Can't wait.
Not for kids.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
All right, Freddie. I appreciate the time, brother. I'll talk
Thanks
to you
Thanks for having me on, man. You take care.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.